talk about the holidays and being productive during that time of year. So, a lot of our clients, they're kind of like, it's so difficult to really get focused and stay focused and continue to be in business and successful in business during the holidays because there's so much going on, and the to-do list gets longer and longer, and you're being pulled in a million directions, and there's a lot going on. So, Kelly, what are some of the challenges that you've seen for yourself and for your clients during the holiday season?
Yeah, I think hi, everyone. I'm actually a little under the weather today. So if I get into a little coughing fit, you'll know why. So yeah, the holidays in itself can feel stressful, right? It's boom, boom, boom. It's, if you've got kids too, just add into the additional stress. It's, Halloween and then Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then New Year's. And it just feels like, there's, like Jamie said, just a huge to-do list. And then to think about, oh my gosh, am I going to meet my goals by the end of the year for my business? It can feel really overwhelming. And especially for mompreneurs, I think, and I'm not saying that, if you aren't a mompreneur that you don't, have similar challenges, but I think as a mompreneur, you have that additional stress, right? We have to keep our kids, especially if you have little ones, right? You've got to keep your kids constantly busy, right? There's different fall activities every weekend, right? I know in our house, we're, and Jamie too, we're in New England. So it's like football and, everything. It just feels like there's always events and there's always things to do. And so how do you focus on your business? You tend to have a little bit, a lot of things I get from my clients is they tend to start to lack a little bit of focus, during this season. So it's just about, we're going to kind of talk through what Jamie and I have decided are the 3 Ps, right, to being successful during the holiday season. That's productivity, planning, and promotion. And so what we intend to do is kind of give you that guide and some tips on how to kind of master each of those so that you can be successful during the holiday season and still manage your business instead of your business managing you.
Well, and there's 1,000 more distractions that time of year too, right? Because there's, once Halloween kind of comes and goes, you have Thanksgiving, which is lots of family obligations, and then forget the holiday season. So between your work obligations with holiday parties and your family obligations with holiday parties, and then your kids' obligations with school holiday parties, it's a lot to manage, not to mention the fact that, if you celebrate Christmas or whatever you celebrate, there's a lot of gift buying involved. So
right.
A whole new stack of whatever. And then forget it if you're having like a holiday at your house. Like I do Christmas Eve at my house for my 4 siblings, all their significant others, and my parents. And then there's always extra people that kind of come in the last minute. So it's a lot of work.
We actually decided, funny, we decided we weren't going to do that this year. We always host Thanksgiving. We always host Christmas Day. We might still do Christmas Day, but we decided we're not going to do it this year. I've got too much going on. It's, as much as I love to do it, it's something that I just, for this year, I'm focused on my business. I have to kind of push it off. So, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. So Kelly, you want to talk about the productivity piece?
Yeah. So from a productivity piece, and we talked about this a little bit in the first session. So you want to always, have your top 3 to 5 goals that you want to accomplish, right? So kind of think about what you want to, it's December 31st and you're celebrating, maybe you're at a holiday party and somebody walks up to you and they say, well, hey, how's business doing, right? What do you envision you want to say? Do you want to be saying, absolutely, everything's fantastic. It's really picked up momentum. I'm feeling good about it. Or is that a question you dread, right? So you want to really think about what are the things you want to accomplish. And don't try to solve the world, right? We have 90 days. There's a lot you can do. And I always say this is when the magic happens. But you want to still keep in mind, what are those 3 to 5 things that you want to accomplish by the end of the year? And I like to do that both so have your 3 to 5 goals in your business life, and have your 3 to 5 goals in your personal life, because it's, as we've talked about, it's all connected, right? So, it kind of takes into account those holiday responsibilities, right? So what are those things? Because if you don't write them down, if you don't have them in front of you at all times, you're not going to be focused, right? You're going to be kind of scattered. You're going to have, shiny object syndrome, or you're going to feel so overwhelmed. So if you always have those 3 to 5, and what I like to do is have the 3 to 5 goals you want to accomplish in the next 90 days. And then anytime, so those are kind of your master goals. And then anytime something comes up that you're going to do, you have to ask yourself, is that in line with the top 3 to 5 goals that I want to accomplish? If it's not a priority. So you want to have those top 3 to 5 goals that you want to accomplish by the end of the year, and then break it down, right? So how am I going to do that? What need kind of work backwards, right? What do I need to achieve week by week in order to hit that goal?
Yeah, and to that point, Kelly, break it down, right?
Right.
Your ultimate goal is by Christmas to sell, say, $10,000 or get 10 more clients. Back that out, right?
Right.
Back it out and work the numbers backwards. So set the goal and then work backwards from there to help figure out what's what and how you're going to accomplish it.
Yeah, I mean, I know how many leads I want to get, and I have it broken down by day. So, and I have a counter on my laptop. When I open it up, it says I need 3 leads today, 3 new leads. And so when you break it down that small, it doesn't seem as big, right? It's manageable, right? So, and then the other thing is, we talked about this in the first session, but another great way to be really productive in the next 90 days is, again, focus on those hot and warm leads. So what are the people who you've spoken to in the past that maybe you've done a discovery call, it just wasn't good timing for them, or maybe you've restructured your offerings and you have something that kind of fits their needs. That's where you want to start. Don't be looking at, okay, let me run, not that you shouldn't run Facebook ads, but thinking, okay, let me run Facebook ads and let me get all these new people. Really focus on your hot and warm leads. And those hot leads, again, are the ones that have shown interest in the past. Maybe it's not good timing for them. Maybe they're people who engage with you a lot on, social media, and that it's just, they're ready, right? They're kind of right there and they're ready to buy. They just need a little more nurturing. And then for your warm leads, those are going to be people who have, downloaded something from your website. So they've shown some interest. And so if you focus there on those leads, you're going to get some quick wins and you're going to be more productive versus, okay, let me try to build my list. Which we're always trying to build our list. But if you want to hit your goals in the next 90 days, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. So let's talk a little bit then about planning that out. I am a big fan of having a calendar, and I call it a social media calendar, but really many of my clients use it as an all out. They put everything in that. It's really an editorial calendar for their business. It's one of those things where you can plug every important date, every holiday, everything that you need into this one spot, and everything's right there. So I'm a big fan of plan. Plan your content, plan your dates that you want to send a newsletter, plan days of the week that you want to keep just to yourself. I'm a big fan of trying to block my time where I say, all right, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday are days that I do calls with clients. Wednesday and Friday are what I like to call work days. And work days are days where I actually get stuff done, whether it's for my business. Typically, I like Wednesday to be either prospecting or solely working on my own business. And then Friday is really where I kind of just sit down and focus on getting all my work done. And it sounds crazy that it's something that many people always say to me that, oh, this is something that I don't think that I can do, but you can if you choose to. It's funny if you say, hey, these are the two. Let me back up for a second. I'm getting myself all spun up.
Well, I think, you know what, let me step in for just a second. And so I think your calendar is more of, it's like a marketing calendar for your business, right? And it's a great way, because a big part of the planning process is as you're kind of thinking about, we talked about it, I think in the first session is, if you have any kind of, and we're going to talk about it in a minute too, any kind of promotions or anything, this is a great way of mapping out all of the dates. So like Jamie said, if there's, which we know, right, in fourth quarter, there's plenty of special days and holidays. You want to plan your social media, your email blasts, your blogs around topics that would relate to those holidays. So you want to kind of plan it out, right? Even planning out your images, right? What images are you going to use in the fourth quarter? So and the more you plan, right? Because this kind of links into productivity. The more that you plan, the better you're going to feel, right?
Yeah, and to your point, thank you for anchoring me. I was getting way off on something.
That's okay.
But it's one of those things where if you leverage that calendar and you work from that calendar and you say, all right, like this, what we're doing right now, Kelly and I have made a commitment to each other that we're going to do this every single Thursday at 10 o'clock. And while we might have an exception to that time, and there's going to be times when I'm sure I will have something where I can't be here, but it's going to be a really good reason why I'm not here. And same thing for Kelly, she's here sick.
I'm sweating so bad.
It's one of those things where, we know that we want to do this and we know that this is something that's going to help you guys and help our own businesses grow. And then we want to commit to, and it's on the calendar. And then everything that we do, we were just talking before we jumped on this about what next week's topic is. And then everything that we do in social media can be tied to said topic. So if you're going to run a holiday promotion, I was actually just talking to a different client about this earlier this morning. She knows she's running a holiday promotion and that people pre-order stuff between X time and Y time. She's going to give an additional thing for free. So if you give something, you get something. But one of the things that she said to me, she's like, thank you for planning that and helping me plan that. Because I always want to do it. And I see those people who do it on social media, on the radio, on Facebook, and all of these places. And I'm always like, damn, I missed it. Damn, I should have done that. And it's it doesn't take a lot of time to plan. You just have to force yourself to say, I'm going to sit down for an hour and I'm going to do this. And that's where I kind of hopped over to the actual calendar that you have. And the big thing with planning is you have to be in control of your calendar and your time. I think that's probably the biggest thing when it comes to being able to get ahead and hitting your goals. I have a lot of people that will tell me that I'm crazy because I only do calls on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, but I do that so I can have some sanity.
Well, you have to be able to work on your business. So if your business is one that you work with clients, right, which I think most of our clients are, right? Yeah. So if that's the case, you have to schedule your time that way. Or otherwise, you're never going to have enough time to actually work on your business. And as far as planning, it takes a little bit of time. It's a little tedious, but it's going to help you so much. I mean, one of the reasons Jamie and I do this, another reason is because we get a lot of, Facebook IMs, and we love them. We love folks that reach out and want guidance, but this was a great way also for us to kind of streamline our process. And we're going to talk about these topics and this way, rather than personally IMing 50 people, they all get the information and it only takes an hour of our time.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too, and I don't think we mentioned this, is that if you really sit down at your computer and you shut Facebook and you shut your email and you flip your phone over, right? You flip your phone over, you put it on mute, the 400 devices that you have at your desk, you shut those off.
It's true.
And you put them on silent and you close everything except for your calendar. to get yourself organized, whatever you want to call it, your marketing calendar, your business calendar, and you really just focus on that, you can get 3 months worth of stuff organized. And even if it's not the final content, you can get 3 months worth of content organized in a couple of hours. No problem.
I would say another great thing to do that I do is, so if you work from home, right, which I think most of us do, I'll even go to a coffee shop, right, to do that. If it's something if it's something I don't really want to do and that I'll easily get distracted, it's better for me to completely change my scenery and just focus for a couple hours and get it done.
Yeah, and I think too, to that point, right, if you're for me, I have a tendency to get up really early because I write a lot of content for folks. So I have a tendency to get up really early because I know that I'm very creative before kind of all the distractions begin, right? But if I have to sit and write something at 3:00 in the afternoon, I'm literally going to stare at a blank screen for like an hour. And once I get into that writing mode, I'm okay. But if I do it in the morning, I literally can get up and I get my coffee and I'm like, and it's done. So figure out what is your best time to say, I'm just going to focus on myself and my business. And here's what I'm going to do it. And just shut the distractions down. And that's how you can really get that planning done. Because then you put on the calendar, you put the social content that ties into the newsletter, that ties into the blogs. And if you outline it, like I just outlined this with a client earlier this week, and we did 2 months worth of content in 20 minutes.
Right.
Get on a roll. You're like, all right, my theme this month is productivity, and here's what I'm going to talk about for productivity. You're like, boom, 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 boom. And it's so much easier.
Right. Yeah. I've got a client I was talking to yesterday, and she's super creative, right? She's great at the creative stuff. And so I started kind of mapping out her, I'll say sales funnel. I hate the term sales funnel, but I like to use lead nurturing. But if you hear that, I'm saying it because if you hear it, the term, you'll know what I'm talking about. I like to call it lead nurturing. Sales funnel to me just sounds too technical, and that you're not connected to your client. So that's my thing on that. But so she's very creative, and I started kind of mapping out what that was going to look like what Jamie was just saying. What's the email blast you're going to send that links to the blog, that then, links to your social media or links to your call to, what's your call to action? Is it going to link to a download? So mapping that out. And she said, I can't think about this. Like, I'm the creative person. And that's kind of what, working with Jamie and I, is like, we take that piece of it. So if you're really good at, creating content, but not necessarily understanding what you're going to do with all of it, I would say definitely, if you have a colleague or even Jamie and I that you need, help with kind of planning it all out, I would highly suggest doing that, because otherwise
it just never happens.
It's stuff happens, and you're not being as productive, right? And your marketing efforts you're not going to see the results. So.
And we all, Kelly and I know that you definitely have the best of intentions to get it done, but let's face it, you put it off and you put it off and you put it off and you put it off because you can, and you have nobody to say to you, hey, here's your homework for the week. I need you to get this done so I can do my job better.
Right.
So you can do your job better. So I would say, talk to Kelly or I, or find an accountability partner where you
right.
hold that person accountable, and then they can hold you accountable, and meet at the same time each week. And don't give excuses about why you can't meet at the same time each week. Because remember, at the end of the day, one of the things I know I keep saying this, it must be, I don't know what's going on in my brain today, but you're in control of your schedule.
Right.
A lot of us believe that we're not in control of our schedule. Obviously, there's certain things you can't control, the time you drop your kids off to school, that sort of stuff. And there's always going to be certain things that kind of come out of the blue. Like I had a client emergency earlier this week, and I had to cancel a meeting, which is very unusual for me. I don't like canceling meetings, but I did, and I had to do that because that was an emergency. But generally speaking, you're in control of your calendar, you're in control of your day. Like, do yourself a favor and help yourself succeed,
Right.
I'm
going to bring up, and these are not intended to be salesy, right? But I will tell you, at all. But I just, you brought up accountability partner. So I felt like, okay, let me at least mention it. that Jamie and I do run a mentoring group, right? So, I have the business breakthrough guide. And so if you have looked at that and you want some additional support, we do have a mentoring group, which is your accountability, right? It's that additional support. It's keeping you on track. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there. If you're interested, just reach out to Jamie or I. So I guess the next topic is promotion, right?
But I'm bummed.
You want me to? Okay, so
no, I can go. Yeah. So one of the things that you have to think about, so part of this planning, you'll also have to think about what you're going to do for promotions. I know I just mentioned this, but what is your holiday promotion going to be? Because we all know as soon as Black Friday hits, your email inbox with all of the promotional emails is going to quadruple. So how are you going to compete with that? And what are you going to do to differentiate yourself? Are you going to do something fun for the holiday season? Are you going to do a give something, get something? Are you going to buy more and save, refer a friend and get whatever? There's lots of options to think about. I have some clients who are on the more retail side of things where they're doing spend X amount, get something for yourself. That's a very popular thing, especially in the restaurant, food, clothing even type of deal. I have other ones that are kind of, they're doing more consultory work like Kelly or I, where they're offering a bigger incentive in terms of their referral program for the holiday season. So what do those promotions look like? Are you going to do 12 days of giveaways? I've had clients who do 12 days of giveaways during the holiday season. So December 1 through December 12, they give something away every day. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So right now is the time to start thinking about that, because there's a lot of stuff going on and there's going to be a big social conversation around Black Friday, around giving
Small Business Saturday,
Cyber Monday. So all of these are coming. And even Thanksgiving nowadays, lots of people I see doing gratefulness stuff leading up to Thanksgiving. So, whether you're going to even do, I'm grateful for blah, blah, blah. And as a result, I'm going to do a giveaway. This is a great time of year to try and steal some of that attention, because people are going to be bombarded with it anyway. So you might as well participate, because there's not a lot of times a year where every social post that you do, or, 9 out of 10 of your stuff can be kind of self-serving. There's not a lot of time of year that you can do that. So I encourage you to figure out what those promotions are. And if you aren't sure, don't hesitate to kind of look around the web. I always get my inspiration from looking around the web. And I had notes in my notebooks. These notebooks that I have last forever. I have notes from Christmas from last year, promotions that I wanted to do that I've been sharing with clients. And we're working right now to get those things in place, because some people are, their cutoff dates are 12/1, 12/15, which is not that far away. And I think as of this Monday, I think there's only 11 more Mondays till Christmas and Hanukkah, because Christmas Eve and Hanukkah are both on Christmas Eve, the 24th of December. So that's not a lot of time.
Right.
And most of the time, I don't know about you, but my kids' school is closed for the week of Thanksgiving. So there goes a whole week of trying to manage momhood.
Right. My son's, I didn't realize that he's off Monday, Tuesday next week. That's 2 days that it's going to be hard to get business done. So even more so to kind of plan. And I just wanted to kind of add, when we say promotion, it's not always discounting, right? So, don't think, okay, I've got to slash my prices, because honestly, sometimes that can be effective, but a lot of times it can devalue your product, number one, and number two, it can kind of condition your client base and your leads that you're always going to discount, right? So, we encountered this when I was working at Macy's, right? Macy's always had, okay, there's the rack and it's 10%, everything's 10% off. And then, I get this 20% off coupon that I can use on that. Nobody was buying full price anymore because everybody was conditioned to wait for the coupons, right? So, Jamie kind of brought up some of the different types of promotions, right? So whether it's, you buy more, you get more, referrals, maybe a limited time only kind of promotion. Those are all very effective. And as Jamie said, everybody's going to be doing this, right? How do you cut through the noise? Planning. If you plan it really well, and as Jamie said, kind of lead up to it, it's going to be that much more effective, right? Rather than the person who wakes up and says, oh, wait a minute, Thanksgiving's in a couple days. Let me start doing some promotion.
Let me throw something together. Right. And I think the thing to remember too, many of us who have businesses like Kelly or myself, or if you're in any sort of consultory service-based business, I might have mentioned this last week, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I just gave all my books to my bookkeeper. And guess what? He's probably going to tell me that I need to spend some money that is imaginary money, apparently. But if I don't, if I don't spend it, I'm going to lose it.
Right.
So I have some imaginary money that I need to find so I can spend some imaginary money on stuff. So what does that mean for you? Right. I think that's the thing. That means that if, for me anyway, if I don't spend some money on something, whether it's some new tech or hiring somebody to help in some way that I can use as kind of self-development, I'm going to just end up paying more money to the tax man. Right. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go find something to spend some money on because I don't want to give more money to the tax man. And lucky for you, a lot of people are in the same sort of situation. I've had experiences where people have paid me for 6 months of services into the next year because they didn't want to end up giving that money to the tax man. So they were trying to lower their net sales and their net income to get under a certain number. So the good thing for you is a lot of people go through this same experience this time of year, and those added promotions and bonuses, or, working with Kelly, like buy 5 sessions, get 1 free, or right. Buy 5 sessions, get her worksheet as an added bonus. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're discounting. I don't right. want you to discount. I right. want you to show more value in these promotions. And the thing is, you might hear some excuses, but at the end of the day, people have the money to spend this time of year and they're more likely to spend anyway.
Right.
So why not? And even if they don't have the money to spend, guess what? Every single one of those corporations and those people and small businesses are starting to think, especially in December, about their 2017 budgets. And they send out the RFPs and all of the proposals, and they get all that stuff lined up to start in the beginning of January. So there's a lot going on if you can stay focused and cut through the noise, and just really honor that schedule that you've set in place for yourself for this time of year.
Right. And, another thing, and Jamie and I kind of differ on this a little bit, is cause marketing. So, when you're thinking about promotion, you can, as many of you know, I align myself with a great nonprofit, You're With Us, that creates inclusion opportunities for young adults with disabilities. And I donate 5% of my income to You're With Us. For the month of October, I'm donating an additional 5% to breast cancer treatment because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So that's another type of promotion or cause marketing that you can do, and it fits really well in the holiday season that people are feeling very charitable, and it can kind of differentiate you, but it has to really align with your brand. A big part of who my brand is, and this was, if you read my story on my website, is, my dad was big on giving back. And so it's a way for me to honor him and that whole philosophy. And so it's part of who I am as a brand. And the holiday season fits really well with that. So starting to kind of, if you're planning your promotion, plan what if that's fits with your brand, plan what you're going to do from a cause marketing. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to donate your income. It could be, you're working in a soup kitchen on Thanksgiving, right? It can be anything like that. And if you do that, not that you want to make it about, you don't want to do it for the sake of
You don't want to do it for
promotion.
people to take the selfie.
Right, right,
You want
right. You know what I mean? But you do
like
want, you might want to do some behind the scenes, like things like that to raise awareness. There's a way to do it, like Jamie said, it's not necessarily, you're taking a selfie. It's you've got to plan that out. So it's a way that comes off as authentic, right, and effective, and raises awareness for the charity. So that's kind of my spiel on cause marketing.
Yeah, and I think I just have never had a client where it's worked super well. We've done it tied to local events. So we did it. I did it for a cookie company that I work with, and a percentage of their sales during this particular time went to this local event, and that went really well. I've found that when I do it for longer periods of time, I haven't had as much success.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people, especially me, I'm of the mindset, like, it's not a huge differentiator for me personally. I'm going to give to the breast cancer people regardless, right? So I think it really depends on who your ideal client is and who your buyer persona is.
Right.
Identifying that person. Some people are really passionate about that, and that helps. For me in particular, I'm going to donate regardless, so it's not a differentiator to me, and I'd rather choose who I donate to. So I like it when they say, and I think at the supermarket they have this, like, do you want to donate to this or this, or you can kind of choose your charity type of deal. That, to me, I'm more inclined to do that. But either way, I think it's a great way to help kind of get into that social conversation this time of year. And plus you get the extra exposure from tagging whatever charity that you're donating to.
True. I had a point that I was going to say. Well, I think it can also, it's hard to measure, right? And that's the thing with anything marketing related, right? Marketing can be really hard to measure. But I think it's a way of differentiating yourself. So if somebody's making a decision between you and, your competitor, that might be the thing that just
makes them
finalizes the decision for them, right? Like I equate it to, like, we have in our house, we have an above ground basement, but if we were to finish it, it doesn't add any square footage or value to our home, right? So why do it? Well, here's why. If the market is saturated, right, and a buyer is going to make a decision between our house and another house, if we have a finished basement, even though it doesn't necessarily add value, doesn't add square footage, they may want that, right? So that's kind of the way I think about it, right? Find different ways to differentiate yourself during the holiday season. And that's just one example.
Love it. Okay, so the last piece that we wanted to talk about today is self-nurturing.
So important during the holiday season.
It's so important all year long, but it's especially important during the holiday season because stress levels go up, right? And there's more on the to-do list. There's more obligations in terms of events and time spent with family. And then there's also lots of, I don't know about you. Well, in my family, there's lots of dynamics that go along with that. And you have to be mindful of Sally's allergy of this. And is this one still with that? It's just a lot of drama. And I'm not a drama type of gal. So it's a lot of pressure to remember all the things that you have to remember during the holiday season. And so, I would contend that it's essential for surviving the holiday season is to take some time out for yourself. It doesn't need to be a ton of time. It could be something as simple as 30 minutes during the day where you just check out. You just shut everything down and you turn off the phone and you just do something that you want to do. Or you make time to exercise. For me, exercise is a game changer. If I don't exercise, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Right.
Because for me, it's not only helps me get more creative, it's just such a good energy release. So if I can, sometimes I even take calls on the phone where I don't have to sit in front of the computer. I'll walk around my neighborhood and talk on the phone because I want to get out. I don't want to be stuck behind the computer. And even just doing that, even if it's while I'm on the phone with a client, it helps get my brain out of that and it gets your body moving. So while I still want you to take time for yourself, I think that the more ways that you can get creative in regards to getting some exercise in and doing some things for yourself, even if it's just something small. I have a 3-year-old, so I sometimes don't even get to go to the bathroom by myself. Like somebody will be banging down the door, kicking in the door. He's potty training. So there's like constantly a potty in every room. And it's complete chaos. So like for me, sometimes even just to be able to take a shower by myself is like an accomplishment. So do those things for yourself and keep yourself focused on the tasks and the goals and all that sort of stuff, because that time that you get to recharge, whether it's 15 minutes or 3 hours, is going to be essential for you surviving this holiday season and surviving it successfully.
Right. That's so funny. This totally unrelated, but you made me think of that with the potty training. We had the same thing where we had a potty in every single room, and I was in the kitchen taking a business call, and this is when I still worked in corporate, and Jack was literally right next to me and I didn't know it. And then all of a sudden just started going to the bathroom in the potty, and it was so loud. I had to say to the person on the other, like, that's not me. Like, just so you know, I'm in the kitchen. I'm not in the bath. That's not me. That's my son.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, kids have the best intentions, right? But they don't know. And I have a quote on my wall over here, because I can sometimes get a little focused on work because I'm very motivated to accomplish my goals and really build an awesome business. But I have a quote on the wall that says, children are not a distraction from more important work. They are the most important work. And I also find too, that one of the things that I sometimes do, well, it's not taking time out to myself. Like today, when I pick up my son from school at 3, I'm going to go for a walk just with him, and I'm going to leave my phone in the car, and I'm not going to whatever. And it's good for both of us. And it's some fresh air, and it's just something that I can do to bond with him. And that helps bring my stress level down and helps me take care of myself too. Right. Because I'm just saying, I'm not doing anything other than being a mom. And it's so important to be present in all the things that we do. We're all so guilty of it. I mean, I've heard my silly Facebook Messenger thing chime probably 10 times while I've been on this phone call. And we're constantly being bombarded with distractions. So don't be afraid to turn off that phone for a little bit. People will survive without you.
And another good point too is because of how stressful the holiday season can be, right? Our immune systems can be compromised. I'm a perfect example right now, right? I had to literally, shut down my laptop yesterday. I couldn't, right? I've been really kind of struggling with it. And today, after I get off this call, it's going off because I've got to kind of reset and take care of myself. So it's so important to self-nurture, especially during this stressful time, right? Because as entrepreneurs, we get sick. It's not like in the corporate world where you still get a paycheck and you just called in sick, right?
Paid sick day, unfortunately, while you're
right. So it's even more important to take care of yourself. And going back to in the beginning, we talked about productivity, and when you have your top goals for your business, have your top goals for your personal life. And like for me, Jamie brought it up, it's exercise. That's someplace where I lag, and I have to build it into my schedule. And something I really like to do, and I do with my clients, I'll have them vision board, or even just, I'm the queen of Excel. So I even plan it out on Excel. What is my perfect day going to look like? Right. So, and that was what actually made me leave the corporate world and start my own business. I literally mapped it out in 30-minute increments. I envisioned it, what will I be doing? Right. And, to the point of like, what will I be wearing? What smells will I have? I really mapped it out and said, well, wait a minute, why I have to do this, right? I looked at it and said, I have to make that happen. And that's why I left the corporate world. So I think it's important to do that during the holiday season and plan out what you need, what your perfect life looks like. If you were to envision, again, the December 31st and everything has gone, extremely well, and you've met your business goals and you've met your personal goals, what does that look like? What does it feel like? If it's, okay, if you map it out and you say, I'm going to work out like for me, I drop my son off at 8:30, I can work out from 9 to 10 and then start my day. Okay. I just have to make that happen. right? So I think that goes back into the productivity and planning as well.
Self-care too, right? Because
right.
And I look at this, I say this all the time to people who give me an excuse as to why they can't work it out. I say, put it on your calendar.
Right.
And then
you
they're
have
like,
to.
well, I put it on my calendar and something else came up. I go, bosses don't cancel.
Right. No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, because I'm guilty of it, but it's even more so important. Hey, and not only from the stress level, but think about what we eat during the next 90 days, right? So it's even more important. And I do believe that when you have a workout schedule, when you're focused on that, it's going to make you better in your business, right? There's a lot of times when I've worked out and I'll come up with some really creative ideas as well, right? So it just clears the mind.
My most creative ideas come when I work out. And I think the thing is too, when you're working out, don't put the phone away too. Like if you want to take a selfie that you were at the gym, take it at the beginning or take it at the end and turn it off and just like be present. And this is something I can be guilty of from time to time. I'll sometimes get an email and I'll be like, whoop, let me check that email.
Right.
And it's, be present with what you're doing, and you'll find that you're going to get a lot more done and you're going to get a lot more focused, and your brain will thank you. I was just telling Kelly, I'm turning off I love using my phone for pictures. I love taking pictures, but I'm going to turn off my Facebook notifications, my email, my everything. I'm going to log out. And here's the thing. If I log out, I don't remember those passwords. So I'm going to have to reset every password to get back in. And I'm too lazy to go to my computer on a weekend to do that. So I'm just going to shut it off and I'm going to unplug, because we all need to unplug to take care of ourselves, and when you get in and people will say, oh, well, what if someone needs me? Put up an autoresponder and tell them that if it's an emergency, a true emergency, to text you.
Right.
And then guess what? Nothing will happen. And when you get back to work on Monday or Tuesday, because I'm taking Monday off because it's a federal holiday. When you get back to work on Tuesday, you're going to be excited to go to work.
Right.
You're going to feel re-engaged. But if you never unplug from work, which so many entrepreneurs I know are like, oh my God, an email,
right,
Facebook message, and I think if you don't unplug and you don't separate yourself from that, you just constantly feel like you're working all the time, which isn't good for anybody either, which also leads you to get sick and not feel happy, and this just downward spiral. So we want you to be successful for the holiday season. So these are some of our all sorts of tips we gave you today.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these are kind of some high level things you need to do in order to manage your business through the holiday season, because we know it can be tough. It's tough for us, so these are the things that we do in order to remain focused on meeting our goals by the end of the year. Not only that, as Jamie said, there's only so many, Mondays left until Christmas. We're not just trying to meet our year-end goals. We got to start planning for 2017. Otherwise, you're going to hit January and say, okay, what am I doing? Right. And you're going to kind of be behind your competition. And that's really what the goal is to kind of cut through all the, online noise and be able to differentiate yourself and to kind of, leave the competition in your wake. So
cool.
Great.
Awesome. Kelly, anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it. My ears just got clogged, so I can't hear myself anymore. So
perfect timing.
I'm all set.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll be posting the topics probably tomorrow or the day after.
Right.
As to what we're going to be talking about next week, but it should be a good one. So
absolutely.
All right. Have a great one.
You too.